I got the Platinum Trophy for Evil Dead the Game. Please clap. Evil Dead the Game, a landmark game title in the ever-expanding franchise of movies, games, comics, and that weird box you found under your cool uncle's bed. What I'm trying to say here is Evil Dead has taken over so many other forms of media, there seems to be an Evil Dead product for any type of entertainment you want.
I mean, who doesn't want to use Evil Dead soap? It smells like rotten flesh!
However, despite us having a few Evil Dead games, we never actually had one on modern consoles. The last game we got was Regeneration on the PS2 and original Xbox, and while this was a great game, it's notable that it doesn't support trophies since it never made to the PS3. So when we got a new announcement for Evil Dead the Game, I knew this had to be a platinum. Now, while I do love me some platinum trophies, I wouldn't call myself a completionist. I got maybe 10 to my name at the time of recording this. But this is such an important title, I was so willing to buckle down and grind a little extra. To this day, this is the only piece of Evil Dead content to have the rights of the original movies, the 2013 film, and the TV show, as well as possibly getting the rights for Evil Dead Rise. This is a landmark moment in not just the franchise's history, but in its legacy. Finally, Lord Bullet can meet Xena! So yeah, I really needed this game's Platinum Trophy. And hey, past me thought, if I got this done fast enough, I could even make a video about it. So all in all, it'll be a pretty fun, maybe 2-month trophy hunt. Oh. Getting the Platinum Trophy in this game is grueling. And it's all thanks to the fact that this is an online multiplayer game, which is probably already setting off red alerts in your head. Now, to explain this to all of our non-trophy hunters, getting a Platinum Trophy in a single-player only game is much different than getting one in a game mostly based around online multiplayer. If you're getting a Platinum in, say, God of War, a single-player game, it's more like checking off a checklist. Defeat the boss, go to this area, unlock this chest. It's challenging, of course, especially if a trophy is to beat the game on hard, but with the right skills and guides, it's rather easy to get these trophies if you want to devote your time to them. In a multiplayer game, you have to throw all that out the window. Your trophies no longer depend on checking off a checklist and devoting time, it's now checking off a checklist, devoting time, and being the best against other live people. Oh goody! Evil Dead the Game's trophies are tied to its Survivor versus Evil mode, where 4-player survivors take on 1-player Kandarian Evil. Each side has their own trophies tied to them, meaning you're gonna have to spend a fair bit of time either trying to collaborate with players or bullying players. You don't even get trophies for completing the tutorial or single-player missions, they all have to be achieved in online multiplayer. Now, if you like cheating, you could just grind out all these trophies by playing in online private matches with friends, but personally, I wanted to get these trophies fair and square, so I never actually played a private match. Besides, even if you did want to do that, you'd still need 4 other people, and your experience points don't carry over, so you can't level up your player account, which is a slog of a trophy, by the way. We're gonna have to get to that later. Now, I could go over every single trophy in this video, but let's be honest, a majority of them are simple and will come with time. We don't want this video to be too long. So, I just want to talk about a few that were in particular difficult, that might be roadblocks for you when you decide to platinum this little funny little game, this little thing! Now, to start off, these ones didn't give me any trouble personally, but I imagine they will if you try to get the platinum now. What I like to call the certain team trophies are a set of 5 trophies where you have to complete a match as a certain team of survivors. There's one for the original movie, one for the second movie, one for Army of Darkness, one for Ash vs. Evil Dead, and one for all 4 Ashes together. I'm seeing quadruple. You're drunk. Go back to sleep. The problem is that finding people online now that would want to do this is basically a death sentence. The meta has changed, and now characters like Ed Getley, Annie Nobi, Kelly, these are all characters that are fun to play, but because of their low health and overall more supportive playstyles, you won't find many of them, making these trophies difficult to get in normal matches. Boss of Bosses was a toughie to grab. Killing 20 bosses is already a tall order if you're 1v1ing them, but now you have to keep in mind your entire team is dogpiling on the boss as well. It's more than likely you won't get the final hit. There's even a chance the player possessing the boss will drop the possession, so nobody gets the final hit, making this trophy a rough grind to slice up bosses as fast as possible. Books from Beyond, meanwhile, is just a hassle in general. So, you think the trophy will be achieved by picking up these pieces of a map, right?
I don't want to play Slender!
Unfortunately, that is incorrect. To get this trophy, you need to collect 20 of the time trial lost pages, the blue glowy ones. So, while it means you don't need to win all 20 games, you need to at least get to this point, which is easier, I'll admit, but it's still kinda annoying and time consuming. Effortless Evil just gave me an aneurysm. This one requires you to play on the side of evil and win without possessing a boss unit. Not too hard, you might think, until you remember your boss characters are essentially your closers. If the team is spread out enough, you can effortlessly melt through them with the right boss builds. I made the Army of Darkness, and Evil Ash was perfect for team wiping. Losing that basically means your only chance at taking out the team is to pray for a bad team or go for destroying the evil book at the end of the match. Not great strategies, by the way.
Oh man, I sure hope this team sucks more than me.
One by One We Will Take You was also just a giant headache since this one is so situational. You need to have enough points in order to possess a survivor, the survivor has to have their fear level high, they have to have a good weapon, the survivor has to be close to another survivor and only another survivor because if it's too many you'll get overwhelmed and the possession will end. It's just so situational and it gave me a lot of trouble. But none of them will ever match up to the two trophies that were impossible to grab from the sheer amount of time I had to put into them. Dark 30 and Armageddon.
Well, aren't those lovely names?
These trophies were the bane of my existence. They both basically ask for the same thing, win 30 matches, 30 for good, 30 for evil. Now, people that might not play the game, if so, why are you watching this video? They might be thinking, well, that's not so bad. How long does a match last? 10, 15 minutes? Matches could go for 30 minutes to an hour at most. Mercy. These trophies were painful to get. They were so time consuming, and the worst part is, you weren't guaranteed your progress, because it isn't play 30 matches, it's win 30 matches. Now if you lose a match, it just feels like you wasted your time.
I could have had lunch.
These two trophies, they were the reason the platinum took so long to achieve. I've played my fair share of games, definitely somewhere over 100 matches, and because they were so time consuming, I couldn't just grind or checklist them off. I lost interest at points and took long breaks from the game, especially during content droughts. I will say, I got Dark 30 pretty quickly, all things considered, because I liked playing as the survivors, and collaborating with my team was fun. Armageddon, on the other hand, was just outright depressing. Ma! The game gave me depression, Ma! I don't like playing on the side of evil, especially since it was me versus 4 other players. Setting up traps, spotting deadites, it just wasn't as fun for me. I liked playing as the Army of Darkness, and after setting up my build and maxing him out, Evil Ash played so smooth and was so much fun to control. But playing him was a rare moment. Most of the time, you were a gust of wind trying to screw with survivors. I'm not trying to say this is bad game design. Far from it, actually. I think the system for an asymmetrical 4v1 game is actually really unique, and even after achieving this trophy, I still enjoy playing the game after hundreds of matches. It's just playing as the actual Evil Dead wasn't really my thing. But of course, this video actually exists, so I did get both trophies, and at that point, every other trophy had been unlocked, which just left one last trophy between me and that sweet, sweet platinum. The aptly named and single gold trophy in the game, Groovy. Groovy, for many people, will probably be the last trophy you have to achieve if you get Dark 30 at Armageddon first, because after all that strife to win all those matches, now you don't really have to worry too much and just enjoy the game. To unlock Groovy, you have to get your main player account to level 50. Now, the trophy says to max out your account, but apparently, earlier development, 50 was meant to be the max. But then, most likely, Saber Interactive realized their silly little game was getting way more attention than they thought it would, and bumped it up to 100 so people wouldn't get maxed out in the first few months when they were grinding. The trophy, however, was not updated for this, so you don't have to worry your sweet little head about getting your account to level 100, you just need to get it to 50. Now, recently, I was lucky to play the game during the Triple XP event, and I gotta say, that helped so much. Even with that, it still took quite a while to actually get this trophy. It's really just a giant grind, and this is something that's unavoidable. But unlike the 2 match-based trophies, it's just a much chiller time playing the game for fun and leveling up along the way. Though, I do recommend you play as warriors during this time, specifically Army of Darkness Ash and Scotty. These two deal a lot of damage when maxed with their respective mastered weapons, and will help bump up your experience points. And after finally getting groovy, at the same time, you will be awarded the coveted Platinum Trophy for Evil Dead the Game. Yay! So, would I say my journey was worth it? Well, I'd like to think so. Overall, it's not like this was a grueling experience, except for these two of course. I took my time, and really the only trophies I had to grind for are the ones that I mentioned on this list, and considering there are 45 trophies including the Platinum, I'd say a handful of hangups wasn't too bad. Although I will say, if you do want a gun for this Platinum, you will be spending a lot of time in this game. I've been playing since launch, and honestly, a lot of these trophies would be sincerely hard to get nowadays, especially since the meta is pretty aimed at certain characters now. But still, I'm glad I can proudly display this trophy for all to see, and that I got the first Platinum trophy for any Evil Dead game ever. So, the question is, would I do it again? Heavens no! This trophy took me 140 hours to get over the span of a year! Multiplayer trophies are grueling. I'm glad I have it, I'll display it on my shelf, but it's not like I'm gonna kill myself again for flippin' Predator hunting grounds! I'm speedrunning the Mortal Kombat 11 towers, I don't even care! But hey, now that I finally platinumed this game, I can finally explore my backlog of video games that's been forming over the year. I bet there's been so many great releases. I'll just go back to Astro's Playroom.
Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to subscribe to my channel, and tell me what you thought in the comments down below, and don't forget to give it a like if you really enjoyed it. I hope you go and check out some of my other content, and I'll see you all later. Bye bye now.